Alright, folks, these are the exercises for Chapter 7 of the book. So these first three up here are just kind of age-old logic puzzles. So if you haven't worked through these yet, take a look at them, try to come up with an answer. The answers that they have here on the answer page this time are actually very well written and explain the puzzles very specifically. So I know it might seem that these are not related to programming, so you don't feel like you should waste time on them. But the kind of logical problem solving type thinking that these sorts of logic puzzles use are the same kind of skills that really come in handy when you are a programmer. So obviously, if you're still trying to get your head around syntax, this kind of stuff is not the most important thing in the world, but it really will help if you start thinking about programming problems in the same vein as these sorts of logic problems, because they share a lot of the same DNA. So take a look at those if you haven't. Number 4 here is the first coding problem. It's asking us to make a main function that can handle two exceptions. If the function sum function, this imaginary function here, raises a value error, we need to print value error happening now. If it raises a Unicode error, we need to print Unicode error happening now. The code needs to make sure it can handle both errors, and they remind us that since sum function is not actually a real function, it's kind of an imaginary function that's just passing down here, it's not going to actually raise any exceptions. So when we clicked run in our final version of the code here, it won't actually do anything. We won't see those exceptions get handled with our print functions we're going to do. So it's more of a theoretical problem. So we're going to use the try except kind of format here. So remember that looks like try, and then looks like try, and then some code you want to have tried, and then except with the name of the error type, and then code to be run when that error gets raised. So that's kind of the format. And you can have multiple except statements for each try statement, which we are going to have to do in this case. So simply, we want it to try first to run some function. Like we want some function to run in this case, because that's what the actual problem up here is telling us to do. Some function it's telling us could raise these two errors, so we need to test it out. So try some function, and then the first error they want us to test against is a value error, so we just type value error right in here, and then when that happens we want it to print value error happening now, and then if it raises a Unicode error, we want it to print Unicode error happening now. And you don't need to know what those errors actually do or what causes them to finish the code for this problem. We're done here. That's it. That's all. If we wanted to use this in real life, this is kind of how we would do try except blocks. We would have some code that we're wanting to test to see what's going wrong and what kind of errors it's throwing, and then we'll want to try some workarounds to see if we can figure out how to fix it, which is what these exception blocks are for. So that's nice and easy, real simple. Let's check our answer against their answer, and looks exactly the same. So there we go.